I would like to start off by saying the person I chose to do my toast about is someone I feel like has empowered all of us, and I feel like most of us know him, if not all of us, and his name is SpongeBob. I feel like he has empowered us by the fact he's won so many awards throughout the years, and I also feel like he's a great friend to Patrick, and I feel like he's a loving parent to his snail Gary. And I'm going to explain to you why. So, throughout his years, he has won Employee of the Month 374 times. So, in all of his awards, he's not only won 374 Employee of the Month, but he also, one other point I would like to make about that is that one time Patrick was kind of upset that he didn't have an award. And Patrick eventually won an award, but then saw SpongeBob's award closet. He had an award closet and he had opened it, and all of them came tumbling out, which made Patrick emotional because Patrick hasn't really won any awards before. But SpongeBob was there for him. And that's where I would like to go off and say that he is a great friend to Patrick as well. So with Patrick, they actually decided to come together and be co parents and raise an oyster together, which some people, some pedestrians would walk by and they would notice a sponge, a star. How does that equal an oyster? So I don't think they were kind of realizing that they had adopted this oyster, but that just shows how close they were together. And another reason that I would like to say that he was a great friend to Patrick is they went to Mrs. Puff's boating school at one point, and Patrick, I'm pretty sure, thought that it was a Spanish class, so he didn't even realize it was to learn how to drive. But SpongeBob knew it was how to drive. And, if you know SpongeBob at all, he loved to win awards. So, going back to the awards thing, with this, he was getting gold stars from Mrs. Puff. Well, once Patrick joined the class, Patrick had gotten them, they were messing around, having fun, and he made him lose a star. So SpongeBob was getting kind of mad, and so Patrick and SpongeBob got into a fight. But in the end, Mrs. Puff kind of put on a simulation, and what ended up happening with that was Patrick and SpongeBob had to save this egg. So they had Patrick was in charge of getting the light to save the egg, and SpongeBob was in charge of the egg. So without one or the other, like stated by Patrick, he was in charge of the light. Well, you don't have the light, you can't save the egg. You don't have the egg, there's nothing for the light to warm. So in the end, they worked together and they were able to strengthen their bond even more with the fact that they saved the egg and the lamp, because there was a situation where they both almost smashed on the ground, but they pulled it out and now they're even stronger because of it. So he's a great friend to Patrick, as well as Patrick's a great friend to SpongeBob. And the last thing I would like to state is how much he loves Gary and how much of a great, you could call, pet parent he is. And I would like to start out by saying that Gary left home once upon a time. Him and SpongeBob got into a fight, and so he left. And it was a situation where SpongeBob tried to forget about Gary, and he couldn't. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat. He was very emotionally distressed because he loves Gary. That's his pet. And so eventually Gary came home, and SpongeBob was the happiest in the world. He also, I would like to state out with Gary, spoils the crap out of him. I have never seen someone spoil their animals so much. So anytime Gary wants a new toy, gets him a new toy. Any toy he wants. I've seen him in the grocery store, and Gary will just see something he wants. SpongeBob will just be like, oh yeah, I'll get that for you. And then also spoils them with treats. There was one time where I don't remember exactly what they were called, but they're just snail treats and everything, and they were Gary's favorite. And eventually the store ran out of them because SpongeBob was buying so many treats. And so he eventually, this is the only time he's ever said no to Gary. And Gary understood. Gary wasn't upset about it, but that just shows how much SpongeBob is there for Gary and how much of a good pet parent he is. So I would just like to state one last time that he has won so many awards, which makes him a very good role model for people. It shows people that he's striving to be the best and he wants other people to be the best as well. and he's also a great friend to Patrick. Patrick and him will always be best friends. They have been since they've been born. And so I would just like to state that as well. And he is a great parent to Gary. And they have more than just a bond of pet and parent. They are the closest I've ever seen an animal and a parent. So I feel like he's such a good role model, such a good person to just take after. And so, in conclusion, I would just like to say that everyone should strive to be like SpongeBob. And I use what SpongeBob has done in his like in his shows and everything like that. I just feel like everyone can take a piece of that and learn from that. So thank you.